Hello, I just wanted to give you a quick recap on what's been going on over the last few hours and to stick up for the CTE team to a degree as well, having read some of the ridiculous comments on Twitter. As many of you are aware, we were originally destined to get our first taste of day-to-night conversions in the form of Siege of Shanghai. Tom Wright has waved his magic fingers over his magic keyboard and mouse and produced the first draft ready for playtesting on Thursday the 29th. Unfortunately, a problem with the build over Wednesday night meant that the Thursday release had to be postponed until Friday, which then suffered further complications and, despite best efforts by David and team, refused to load properly. In the end, the CTE patch was issued without the nighttime map. Not knowing exactly why it's reluctant to show itself, the devs will have to investigate from Monday onwards with a view to getting something together for us on Thursday the 5th. Probably. Unfortunately, the winter patch stability testing takes priority for most of next week, which prevents it arriving any sooner. Now, I, as much as anyone, was very disappointed with the fact that we didn't have a new toy to play with over the weekend. For a good 4 or 5 months, I've been playing with night versions of existing BF4 maps, and to be so close to playing on a professionally adapted version of Shanghai, it was pretty frustrating to be left hanging for a good few hours last night, waiting for updates. However, this is, after all, the community test environment we're talking about, and what really pissed me off was the odd abusive comment on Twitter directed at David Serland after he reluctantly had to call it quits for the time being. It's just not necessary. These are updates to maps that were never envisioned during the development of BF4. It's new territory, and it's a completely separate client produced for the sole purposes of testing new things. So to give someone grief for not producing the goods on time or to compare the release to the BF4 initial game launch is just pathetic. Suck it up, princess. Although we didn't get the map itself, Tiggy was kind enough to post up some quick screenshots from it, and from my point of view at least, it appears to be everything that was promised and more. Obviously, reading through the comments to the pictures as they've been posted in various places, there is the standard collection of people insisting that it's too dark, or it's too light, or it's too blue. Someone said it was just another Tehran highway, but I can promise you that nothing could be further from the truth. If you look closely, even with the relatively small-sized images that were produced, it's easy to see that in areas you would expect to be lit with streetlights or neon signs, etc., there is plenty of light. But there are also much darker areas that lack any sort of lighting at all, and are also in the shade of the moonlight. And they look as dark as you would reasonably expect that to be. It should also be noted that many of the lights in the final builds of the map will be destructible, so that if you want an area to be darker, you can make it so. This is how a night map should be, particularly one that's based in such a built-up area. I went back to one of my presets and tried to match, for the most part at least, the level of lighting and colouring that we've seen in the screenshots, just to get some high resolution without some of the screen clutter. I don't think I've matched the lens flares from the streetlights that well, but generally speaking, it's pretty close, I think. Also, I didn't bother to replace the sky texture as they have with the official version. Overall, it's a stunning looking environment. It's going to be a lot of fun. Seeing it in full resolution though really reminded me of the single player campaign that revolves around a very similar setup. So if you want to get a feel for what we can expect to be playing in CTE sometime next week, go and have a look at that. It's the second mission, I think. If you've read the patch notes, you'll also have noticed that a change has been made to the flag layout. The Charlie flag that normally sits atop the tower has now been moved to the ground level, and the elevators to the top have been removed from play. Personally, I'm not a fan of this change. Whenever the tower is destroyed on the vanilla map, it always loses something for me. I love the focal point of a flag that gives you quick, easy access to other flags by jumping from the top, and it's a tactical choice as to whether or not to spend the time and effort in holding the flag, or concentrating efforts at ground level. We'll see how it plays out, I guess, but it's not something I expect will be popular. We'll see. Late next week, I hope to be able to publish a brief Q&A with Tom Wright, the guy that's single-handedly taken on the task of removing the sun from these new night editions. If that's something you'd be interested in, feel free to subscribe or follow me on Twitter. I'm not a big fan of asking people to sub on videos, but I can't tell you right now exactly when that will arrive, so it's an easy way of keeping in touch. Unfortunately, I'm away for part of next week, so I probably won't be first on the night map when it arrives, which sucks, but there you go. I will create some nice footage for those of you that don't have access to CTE as soon as I can. Bye for now.